Okay, cool. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about my favorite topic ever, which is social enterprise. So welcome to this workshop. And as I mentioned, I hope that you guys get a lot from today, and do ask questions because we're here to help you turn your idea into a successful social enterprise. So I love this quote. I found it a couple of days, and it said, every entrepreneur has the mission to change the world and create impact. And this is the difference between us and everybody else around the world, that we've got this fire in our hearts that nothing can stop us, and we want to create impact, and we want to create it fast, an impact that supports not only the community we're targeting, but the communities around it as well. So why are we here? So according to Forbes, in March of this year, there were 2,095 billionaires around the world, which is a lot. And at the same time, 1 in every 10th person lives with less than $1.90. So we're not here to point fingers on who's doing the right thing, who's the wrong thing. If you have access to today's workshop, means you've got access to internet, which obviously means you're above the 1.9. So it is absolutely your responsibility to make the world a better place and build a social enterprise around what you are personally connected with. So another little bit of sad news, and I don't like sad news, but it's important for us to know the facts. It is estimated that just this year, COVID has pushed 500 million people into poverty. So they have taken, well, we have created in the last 30 years. In just 3 months, they pulled us 30 years back. So now more than ever, we need all of you guys to quickly start your social enterprises so we can create this impact, because the world more than ever needs social entrepreneurs to find solutions for so many new problems that we currently have. So if I have a message, if I can give you guys a message, don't wait for change, create it. Don't wait for a big business. Don't wait for your boss. Don't wait for your parents or a friend or a business partner to get started. Just create it yourself. And along the way, you'll see more people joining your movement and helping you run your business, including us. Share with us your progress, and we'll share it on Instagram and Facebook to help you get your message out there. But please go, it's time for action more than ever. But before we start talking about how to build your business, I just wanted to share with you guys, how does the world work when you're talking about business? So let me just move this up. So regardless of, maybe down here, regardless of what structure you're gonna be in, whether you're going to be operating a charity or you are already working in a charity, or is it a charity operating related to your business, an enterprise, non-for-profit organization, a co-op, a socially responsible corporation, or a commercial corporation, you need to have an impact. So there's nothing wrong in you building a social enterprise within someone else's organization. If you have a full-time job in a business right now that's not a social enterprise, start a social enterprise project today within it. And it could be a recycling, it could be something to help with hunger, with poverty, doesn't matter. But take steps, but don't wait. Whatever organization or whatever systems you are in right now, start acting and building change as a social entrepreneur from today, please. Because every single one of these structures requires social entrepreneurs, and the world needs you to have the social entrepreneurial action. So what is the global agenda? So the United Nations set up the UN SDG, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which by 2030, they're calling every single country in the world to promote prosperity while protecting the environment. So the United Nations is looking at ways, it's the biggest plan ever created in history, and it's looking at ways that we can get us in every single country to act for change and help the 17 biggest goals that we have in the world, which are big problems that need solutions and fast. So if you're not familiar with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, here's a quick little 1-minute video for us to learn about it. as you're building a business, look at what UN SDG you're targeting. And it's very common for most of us as entrepreneurs to have a few points that we're tackling at the same time in our social enterprise. So how can you create a social enterprise with positive impact? So it needs to have a social component, an economic component, and also an environmental component. But most importantly, what you need to focus on is building an organization that is sustainable. I've been living in Australia for now, I think 13 or 14 years, and I see so many people, everybody that's had a family member dying of cancer sets up a charity or social enterprise that helps people raise funds for cancer. And I'm like, why don't you just help another organization that's doing already well? Because they spend so much money and time, and then because they aren't building something that is sustainable, where they build just a couple of events and then they burn down and they stop, they don't end up implementing any impact. So when you're building a social enterprise, you need to build something that leaves a legacy for the long term and build a team that will carry on. So if you go on holidays, the business continues growing, and then other organizations can collaborate and build something that ideally can scale around the world. So what I've done today is more than teach you guys just about the components of building a social enterprise. I thought I could share with you guys mistakes that I've seen made around the world. Some of these mistakes I have made personally, and other mistakes I've seen a lot of social entrepreneurs around the world making. So here, when we're talking about building an organization with social impact, but a positive impact. So for example, when you're building something, you can't just focus on the problem that you're solving. You need to understand the community around and how are they going to be impacted. So I'll share a story. So there were these Americans that came over to Africa on holidays, and they saw in this beautiful town that they felt a very special connection. The people there had like very old shoes. So when they went back to the United States with the beautiful photos for Instagram, Facebook, they did some fundraisers, and then they collected enough money to buy shoes for this whole town. They ordered shoes from China and had them shipped from China over to Africa. And they were so proud of themselves for having accomplished the goal of putting comfortable shoes in every single person's feet. Because we know that if you're not wearing shoes, you can collect a lot of disease and you can get sick, your foot can break. So they thought that they had really helped this community. Well, it turned out that yes, they did help, but they helped it in the short term, but they also created a negative impact in other communities. So every shoemaker in the town went bankrupt because for 3 months they had no one to sell shoes to. But what happened also is because they didn't buy quality shoes, these people got used to wearing shoes, so the bottom of the feet became softer. And 3 months later, these cheap shoes had fallen apart and nobody in the town could buy shoes because all of the shoemakers had gone bankrupt, and everybody that got used to wearing shoes, the feet weren't strong enough because a lot of people in Africa used to walk barefoot and now they all had shoes. So it's very important when you're building a business to think about what impact you want to have, but also what sort of support are you going to have and what sort of connectivity are you going to have. So for example, if you want to send water bottles to a community because people don't have access to water and you're going to send it in plastic, that could pollute and there'll be a lot of plastic bottles around. So it's important for you to think like a true leader and think about how are you building a business that solves a problem but has a positive impact in the community and in the social, economic and environment around it. So it's very, very, very important for you guys to consider that when you're building a social enterprise. So a little bit about me. So I've been a social entrepreneur since the age of 9. I'm 31 now, so now I feel old, but I started at the age of 9. So I was born in Brazil, and when I was 9, I lived in South Africa, and that's where I started my first social enterprise. And my first social enterprise was teaching. So I was fundraising for books because I wanted to give everybody the right of fighting for what they deserved. And at that time in South Africa, having moved from Brazil to South Africa, I saw that people were getting judged and getting different opportunities according to the skin color, and I didn't think that was fair. So I started this little fundraiser to collect books so that everybody could learn how to read and get the knowledge to fight for the rights. Then from there, I lived in Mexico City, where we started a community-focused skateboard company. And by the time I moved to Australia, I had run a lot of social entrepreneurial projects. So I started a public relations company to help businesses that were socially responsible shine a light and grow through public relations. And we actually, thanks to Rotary, we won Business of the Year in 2011 for some of the projects we were doing here in Australia, but contributing back to Africa. And then late last year, Academy of Entrepreneurs, so the school that I set up, we won Business of the Year. So it's amazing to not only do what you love, but also to have us being recognized so more people can hear about it and be inspired to be social entrepreneurs. I'll show you guys just a little interesting fact. As I was building this presentation for you guys yesterday, I think there was so much like love. I received a phone call from one of Professor Mohammed Yunus, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, who's one of the biggest social entrepreneurs. I received a phone call from one of his closest friends inviting me to present with Professor Mohammed Yunus. So on the 28th this month is Professor Yunus's 80th birthday, but because of COVID, his birthday party was cancelled. And he invited 100 social entrepreneurial leaders to run online panels with him. So keep an eye, because I'll be presenting with Professor Yunus along with 100 other social entrepreneurs. So this month, you guys are going to be seeing a lot on social entrepreneurship. I've also presented at Google, Microsoft, HSBC, the United Nations, and all these amazing places so that we can get our message across, but also with a lot of governments, such as the Australian government, Brazilian, Colombian, Chilean, French. So I do have a little bit of experience in social entrepreneurship. It's what I love, live and breathe every single day. Remember to tag us. So if you're going to take any photo of us presenting, tag us and we will reshare. Hashtags of the day is Boss Your Future, and also you can share on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So add us, because we're going to be giving a lot of information around social entrepreneurship in the next month. So my focus in the next 4 weeks is to talk about social entrepreneurship like 90% of the time. So if you're as passionate as me about this topic, please follow us so you guys can get a lot more information on it.